Shalom, family. Good to see you all. Hope you're doing well. Well, we're going to talk about Carmelo Anthony and how the new judge has denied his request for a new trial. You know, although that did happen, they still have to go through the appeal process. So he still can appeal the conviction that he received. But one thing we just got to understand, y'all, one thing I can honestly say, I have met some of the most beautiful people in my life from the South. The people down there, and I'm talking about our people, y'all. I'm not talking about all of them down there. I'm talking about our people. The people down there are the salt of the earth. They are some of the most beautiful people I've ever met in my life or in the South. But the drawback is I hate the politics in the South. I hate how the South is governed because it's all that remnant of chattel slavery. These people got deeply ingrained in them. They think we're still subservient to them. And they still try to talk all that equality to you. At the same time, they're treating you totally different. And they know it. And that's what I can't stand about the South. It is not equal down there. It it improved a little, but it should be a lot further than what we're looking at. And we know why it's like that. We talk about our people having the slave mentality, but these white folks, they got the slave owner mentality in them still to this very day. And that's the only thing I really don't like about the South. But the people themselves, I like the people. But as far as everything else, that's why I'm not shocked that Carmelo did not get a new trial. And look who the deciding person was, another white male judge. I don't expect nothing decent from them. We haven't seen anything decent from them in centuries, and you're not going to see it now, y'all. You're just not. You're just not. You know, I even got relatives. One of my cousins, they want me to come down there because they moved from New Jersey to Georgia. And since they've been down there, they've been trying to coax me down there to live too. I would love to live down there. I just don't like the politicking and the policing and the things they do down there. That's the part I don't like. But the people themselves, I would love to be around the people down there. I've had nothing but good experiences with our folks down in the South. And y'all, that's right, dark skinned brother. This is Texas we're talking about, y'all. This is Texas. So let's get into it. Before I do want to send out a reminder. Today is the final day for the goat milk leave-in conditioner and goat milk shampoo. You get your 40% off. And ladies and gentlemen, the sale will end tonight at 11:59 p.m. So grab it up while you can. I still have plenty left. So y'all, let's get into it. I know a lot of people were excited about a new judge, but if you got another white male judge and then you got the first white male judge, it's rare for them to go against each other like that. It is rare. Okay, y'all. Oh yeah, remember that's what Juneteenth comes from. They sure were the last one to end it, CJ filled. That's why we have Juneteenth, because of that. Yep, exactly. All right. Thank you for the ones, everybody.
Complicated, so make sure you pay attention. Karmelo Anthony is not getting a new trial. And after what came out in the court last week, I have questions. We learned there was a private off-the-record agreement to keep the troubled youth's backgrounds, both teenagers, away from the jury. Austin Metcalf had allegations involving racial slurs, bullying, and assault. Karmelo had allegations involving threatening texts, stalking, and assault. None of that came in. And Carmelo's former lawyer says that they had planned to put him on the stand, but all of this helped change that decision. So now the defense says the first trial was too controlled, too secretive, and unfair. The judge said no. 35 years still stands. And I'm still stuck on one thing. He was 17 years old, and now he could spend most of his life in prison. That is a hell of a sentence for a teenager.
Service Sam here with a Karmelo Anthony update, and we have some sad news, actually. Judge Chitty Bang Bang has denied Karmelo Anthony's request for a new trial. This is a bit shocking to me. I figured he would take until Monday to come back. They had just recused Judge Roach, but he's denying a new trial. That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make sense. Why would they have all this come out? I don't believe it's been even with what we saw from the Metcalf twins and what we saw with Karmelo Anthony's background. I think if anything, it made it extremely clear that he deserved a new trial and that the gentleman's handshake was not fair to him at all. So as for now, the 35-year sentence does stand. What do you guys think about this in the comments? I will keep you updated as it keeps coming in, but I'm just honestly in shock. I really believe that he would get a new trial in light of this information that we have seen now. We're not giving up. We're still saying that he deserves a fair trial. We're not saying anything more than that, but he does deserve a fair trial, and I don't believe he got one. I don't believe he got a jury of his peers. That handshake deal left out a lot of information that I think would have made the jury think differently, at least that his sentence should be reduced. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Secret Service Sam out Samson for president of the world.
Hello, my name is Courtney of Courthouse Couture. I'm a lawyer, but not your lawyer. And yes, I've been practicing law for 16 years in the state of Texas. And behind me, I have the order denying the new trial of Karmelo Anthony. After a 2-day, very detailed motion for new trial hearing, for Karmelo Anthony's new legal team established a legal record in a case that didn't have one, a case where there were no pretrial motions, seemingly no exchange of discovery, a very ambiguous gentleman's agreement or agreements resulted in Karmelo Anthony not testifying. Judge Chitty felt there was no need or cause for a new trial. This case has obviously been very polarizing, and even though Judge Roach, the initial judge in the Karmelo Anthony trial, didn't feel that race was a factor, it definitely was. But I can tell you that about 90 to 95% of criminal cases are actually resolved through plea bargain rather than trial. And that's one of the reasons that motions for new trial are very rare. The next steps for this case would literally include direct appeal. One of the things that I understood when this case started is that there is no winner in a murder trial. One family has obviously lost a loved one. One family is concerned about the fate of their loved one. Adding the circumstances in this case, there's no real winners at the end of the day. The online discussion around this has been very interesting. What I can tell you is part of the reason that I tried to remain unbiased and I really tried to think through this case, because the same year that I became a lawyer, my own cousin was brutally murdered. She was 8.5 months pregnant. She died. Her unborn baby died. Her fiance was murdered as well. It was all over TV, even on Nancy Grace. I understood from a deep place, this is not a case that you can talk about like it's a football game. It's going to be interesting to see what steps are taken next by the new defense team for Karmelo. I hope what people can actually take away are the community conversations that likely need to occur. So hopefully we can avoid something like this in the future. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.
Wow. This racist, they just denied Karmelo Anthony's trial. Black lives just do not matter. This is crazy, man, but we ain't giving up. Free Karmelo Anthony, you still coming home, but that's wild.
The new judge in the Karmelo Anthony case has ruled on whether or not there will be a new trial. Let's talk about it. The judge has decided not to grant a new trial, and according to a post by Teslin Figaro, who is clerking on this case, one of the attorneys released a statement. And the statement reads, "We are disappointed that the court denied our motion for a new trial. We respectfully disagree with the ruling and remain firmly committed to protecting our client's rights. We believe the issues raised in our motion are substantial and deserve meaningful appellate review. The denial of our motion does not end this case. We will continue to appeal in the Fifth Court of Appeals and pursue every legal remedy available to our client. Our commitment to our client has not changed. We will continue to advocate vigorously on behalf through every lawful avenue available." This is according to attorney Russell Wilson, who is working on the case. Now, I don't know what you guys think about this, but I genuinely believe that this family deserves justice. This ruling upholds a 35-year sentence. I cannot say whether or not I think, Karmelo Anthony is guilty or not, but I do think he deserves a true and fair hearing. And with all of the things that came out about the behavior of the Metcalf twins and the behavior of the Metcalf father, that is obviously very racist and very troubling, this young man deserves a free and fair hearing. And all of that information was held out of the first hearing. So I believe he deserves a new hearing. I would love to see justice prevail in this case. Let me know what you guys think of this ruling in the comments. Thank you for watching, and follow me for more.
Unfortunately, the railroad of Karmelo Anthony continues. Not too long ago today, retired Judge Michael Chitty denied Karmelo's defense attorney's motion for a new trial. This is his statement here. Upon reviewing the motion, the record, the evidence and argument, the briefs and the relevant case law, the court has determined that the motion should be denied. The judge's order states, "It is therefore considered, ordered, and adjudged by the court that the motion for new trial is denied." But Karmelo Anthony's new defense team is definitely not going down without a fight, because now they plan to submit his case to the Courts of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit. At the Court of Appeals level, judges will review the trial court's record to determine if legal errors occurred that affected the outcome of the case, which they did. There is no new trial, and no new witnesses or evidence are introduced. So the judges will read the official transcripts and review the evidence from the original trial, because they can't introduce any new evidence. Both sides will submit extensive written arguments detailing how the law or trial procedures were correctly or incorrectly applied. Lawyers from both sides will present their cases directly to a panel of 3 judges and answer their specific questions. And the panel will then vote and issue a written opinion to either affirm the original verdict, reverse it, or order a new trial. It's been a long uphill battle, and this fight is not over. This baby was railroaded, and he defended himself, which every Black child is allowed to do, defend themselves when they're approached by bullies and they feel like their lives are in danger. Justice for Karmelo. It's not over.
Okay, so I have some bad news, but do know this is not over. The appeal process will continue. This is just one of 3, but unfortunately, a judge has denied Karmelo Anthony a retrial. What was his name? Michael Chitty? Another white judge from Texas said, nope, denied. Look, here's the good news. They were able to remove, what was his name? John Roach? Whatever that guy's name is. The original judge that gave Karmelo a first-degree murder, that sentenced him to, 30-something years? That man was removed. And he should be, because he had a relationship with the father of Austin Metcalf. That at least is good. Unfortunately, the new judge, Michael Chitty, wasn't much better. Look at him. But that's okay. We all figured that the first appeal was not going to work. The one I'm looking forward to is the one in Dallas. That one I think he has a shot at. And then after that, I think it's the Texas Court of Appeals. That's the highest court. If he gets a no in Dallas and then the Texas Court of Appeals, then yeah, it's a wrap. He's stuck. He'll have to serve all his 30 years. So I'm hoping the one in Dallas is the one that saves him. We'll have to see. I already knew they were going to say no in Collin County. That place has never, ever been good to people like me. But Dallas, there's a shot, but we never know. Keep your prayers up for Karmelo Anthony. You've seen the new evidence that's come out. You know that Austin Metcalf and his brother were drawing 3Ks and racist remarks on walls, graffiti style, bullying people. They have a very violent history. They got them in trouble multiple times in school. Don't lose hope. It's not over until that third court says no. So I will keep you up to date on that. Stay hopeful, trust your gut, and always know you're not crazy.
Okay, can y'all hear me now? Can y'all hear me? Okay. You know, unfortunately, I wish his trial didn't even have to be in Texas, or if they could move it somewhere else. His appeal, that would be nice. But as long as he's in that same county where Austin was unalive, I really don't think he has a chance in that location. This is just my opinion. I don't believe he's got a chance in that location. I believe they're going to have to move that trial somewhere else for him to get a fair chance. But in that county alone, I would not be surprised if the second judge is tied to the family. You know, look, some people have really truly changed in the South. Some have. And some, like Austin Metcalf's father, still act like it's the heart of Dixie. And he's running around with the Klan. A lot of them still act that way down there. It is the truth. And if this judge is tied to the Metcalfs, unfortunately, I would not be shocked. I would not be shocked. He is not going to get a fair chance in that county that he's in. He's not. And it's very obvious. He is not going to get a fair chance in that county. I hope the appeal can be somewhere else. I hope it can be somewhere else for his sake. Hmm. And we will see. I'm definitely going to keep up with this case. I think there's a lot of interest in it. And I just don't think a 17-year-old, because he was 17 at the time when this whole thing happened, I don't think a 17-year-old should have been hit with no first degree murder. He was underage. He should have been treated like a juvenile. So I see so many things not right about this whole case, but unfortunately, you got to go face to face with these judges that have a lot of predispositions about Black folk. Yeah, you're not going to get anywhere. Like I said, in that county, you're not going to get anywhere. Well, Austin was rotten, but those twins, period, were rotten. hmm Yeah, those twins were rotten. Even other people, I have not seen no child that they went to school with come out and talk about how great they were. All of it is negative. Everything you hear about those twins is negative. I even saw a story yesterday where it said Austin punched his own mother in the face. Okay? He punched his own mom in the face. I was reading that yesterday. So, yeah, he was rotten to the core. hmm Yeah, he was rotten to the core. And, but you're trying to tell us that Carmelo was the adversary in this whole thing. I don't believe that. Those twin boys, everything I have heard, even from the kids they went to school with, I haven't heard not one child they went to school with say one decent thing about them. And that says a lot. And I sure don't have nothing good to say about their father. Forget that. But those twins were bullies. They were racist bullies. That's what they both were. And it's really Austin's father who's responsible for him being in that grave. You taught your son to be that way. You taught your son to be that way. What y'all thought they were never going to come across somebody that would stand up to him? Y'all thought that was never going to happen? Come on now. There's always somebody that's going to come up and be able to topple your bully son. There's always somebody bigger and badder and tougher that can take them out. For real. So, my prayers go out to Carmelo and his family, and I hope they do better during the appeal. They still have to do that. So, y'all, have a good afternoon. My next live is at 3:45, and we're going to talk about Donald Trump attempting to cut people off that are on disability. He wants to cut people off, and he wants to do it especially if you are disabled and living with your family. He feels that you shouldn't need anything if you live with your family, which is a load of BS. They still got medical bills and things that have to be taken care of. Some of them require equipment at home. So, see, this is what happens when you're dealing with out of touch rich people. See, white people seem to think because somebody's rich, they are smart and must know something. That's the dumbest thing ever. I have met rich people, and some of them are nuttier than a fruitcake. And I don't want them deciding my fate. I am not a disabled person. But if I was a disabled person, I don't want nobody with the likes of Donald Trump deciding if I can be with my family or not, or if I got to go. I don't want nobody like him making that decision for me. Are you out of your mind? Hell no. Hell no. If the families are not complaining about taking care of their loved ones, what the hell are you complaining about, Donald Trump? You act like you at their house taking care of them. What the hell are you complaining about? He don't want the disabled people to have money. He can go somewhere and kick rocks. No. Some of these rich people don't deserve any respect. They should be shunned. So, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and conclude. I'll see you at 3:45. And have a wonderful, wonderful afternoon. And don't forget to pick up your hair products. And let me say, Zachariah Williams, thank you so much for the super sticker. And thank you again for another super sticker and your support for my channel. Shalom, family.